Welcome back, everyone. Oz here, and today I'm bringing you all some r/am I the asshole. As per usual, I'm going to be going over the posts, giving my own personal opinion what I think, and I implore all of you to give your own input in the comments because I am not a monolith opinion. I can make mistakes, and I'm always open up to reading comments. I only ask that you be respectful about them. And without further ado, let's hop right in. Professional Tax 7753. Am I the asshole for abandoning my parents at an island in the Oh boy. For abandoning my parents at an island in the Caribbean so I could get back to our cruise in time. Reddit has already deemed them not the assholes. Let's figure this one out, shall we? I graduated from high school back in December. As a gift, my parents got me a cruise. It was also for my 18th birthday. It was also a family vacation. We usually stay at all-inclusive resorts, but I've always wanted to go on a cruise. I told my parents it was different, and that if we went on excursions, we had to follow the schedule, no matter what. Well, it was a week-long cruise, and they would not head back to the ship when I said it was time to go. They were busy shopping and bargaining with the locals. I finally said that I was heading back to the ship. My mom waved me off. They missed the departure. By a lot. Like 45 minutes. They got a hold of me through WhatsApp. They wanted to know why I didn't get the boat to wait for them. I wanted to scream that they were not going to inconvenience 3,998 people because 2 could not understand what his schedule was. They ended up having to fly to the next port from there, and it was expensive. They're pissed at me for leaving them behind. I don't know what I was supposed to do. They literally told me they knew what they were doing. I wish I had never asked for this. They're making me miserable because I left without them. Your title needs a correction. You did not abandon your parents in the Caribbean. They abandoned themselves. They said they knew what they were doing, and they also had the expectation that you would simply hold the entire boat up for 2 people who decided they would rather bargain and haggle with locals. That is not your fault in the slightest. That is 100% on them. I thought this would be something more along the lines of, you knew there was a schedule, they did not, you told them they were supposed to go, they didn't, so you slyly just walked away and left them to their own devices, but no, you spelled it out pretty cleanly for them. And they decided they knew better. I find it ironic that the 18-year-old who recently found themselves walking into adulthood is somehow more mature and responsible than the people that raised them. Good for you, but oh boy, try not to let your parents ruin your cruise for you. Elegant Device 1566. Am I the asshole for not declining or signing over my portion of my ex-boyfriend's life insurance payout to his mom? I recently learned that my ex-boyfriend passed away of cancer in March. His mom called me last week to inform me of his passing and to inform me that myself and her are listed as beneficiaries on his life insurance from his employer. She instantly tells me that she doesn't know why he never changed it, but I can decline or sign the check over to her once I receive it. Instantly, I'm in shock. He's gone, and he left me on there? Why? I went back and forth wondering if this was on purpose or accidental. It had been years, approximately 6 years, since we mutually civilly split up. I was informed he had a new girlfriend that lived with him, and she has 2 kids from a previous relationship that threw a wrench into things more. Is there a reason she never got put on it? Was this all just a big mistake? Today, it had been 1 week, and this has been very hard, especially since his mom has been terrorizing me all week trying to get me to agree to give her his money. She has said the most hurtful things and has sent me the most disrespectful photos and video of her son in his last moments. As of right now, I haven't even gotten in touch with the insurance company. I have no idea how much this is or if I need a lawyer's help at this point. But, well, today is the day I woke up knowing 100% I am keeping this money, and I'm not going to feel bad at all for helping my family with a gift my ex left for me. Oh, you are going to hell. Unfortunately, part of me still wonders if it's the right thing to do by my ex, and if these were his wishes in the end. A little info to add, my home burned to the ground 3 years ago, July 20th. In October 1st, 2 years ago, my mom passed away from cancer as well. It has been a long, hard few years, and this money would literally buy myself a new bra for the first time in 3 years. My little clan could really use this money, and I think my ex knew that. Oh my God, no! You are justifying yourself in circles. What probably fucking happened was 6 years ago, he put you as a beneficiary and forgot. You spent this entire post justifying your actions of robbing a grieving mother. Like, this is holy shit. Please, for the love of God, give the grieving mother her actual portion of the beneficiary of the insurance payout, because what you're doing right now is, like, unironically actually evil. You spent the entire post essentially very clearly trying to justify to yourself why it was okay for you to take this money, telling yourself that this could have been a purposeful plan of his because he knew that you secretly needed the money, despite you two not being in contact for like 6 years. He had another partner with 2 kids also. The little comment about, oh, it's been 1 week and it's been really hard because his mom has been terrorizing me to agree to give her the money. She's a grieving mother, dealing with the fact that some random person who has not been in her son's life for 6 years is getting the payout that she doesn't fucking deserve. Of course she's upset. You had no fucking idea he had cancer either, and you're just gonna be like, I think he knew what he was doing. The dude probably forgot to change work documents. Chances are when he was hired on, they prompted him with insurance policy stuff, and this was probably 6 years ago, and he filled you out as a beneficiary. And here you are, 6 years later, after his death. Ooh, nasty words want to come out of my mouth right now. Stop trying to rob a grieving mother. Specific handle 734. Am I the asshole for making it clear to my sister that my son won't be helping her with her stuff? My 8-year-old son has dyspraxia, which is a neurological condition that affects coordination and movement, for anyone who's never heard of it before. He struggles not to drop or break things, doesn't have good hand-eye coordination. He has always appeared clumsy, and while he does his very best to be careful and to take good care of things, he can't always prevent accidents, breakages, or spillages from happening. This is something my sister has expressed frustration about over the years. He was the type of toddler, and now kid, who will be eating or drinking something and it falls to the floor, or he knocks stuff over without meaning to because he's reaching for something else. It's not his fault. He does physical therapy to help him and has done physio in the past to boost his strength. But there is no cure. He's just getting help to go through life. My son has broken many things because of his condition. If it belonged to someone else, we have always replaced it or paid for the damages. We also started making sure he used his own stuff, or our stuff, to prevent this from happening, especially toys my sister's kids have. But his condition means he can't do everything other kids his age might be able to do. Now, this is a huge problem for my sister. Last weekend, my son spent the day with my parents while my wife and I were attending an event. My sister went to my parents and asked my son to help her and her kids pack up stuff for their move, and my son said he couldn't help and he was sorry. My sister told him that he's a big boy now and should be helping, but my son told her he doesn't do that kind of stuff. My parents told my sister to leave. She confronted me after this and asked me what I was teaching my kid when he wouldn't help out family. I told her we're teaching him to work within his means and to not help out someone who will berate him for his condition, which she will do. She said we're coddling and spoiling him, that he's more than old enough to learn how to be more careful, to be better and to cause less accidents and make fewer mistakes, and he needs to learn to help family. And we need to make him do stuff for family to be good parents. I told her my son will never help her with stuff because she lacks the compassion and understanding that his efforts would require. Her response was that it was an asshole thing to say, that he wouldn't help specifically her and that she's still his aunt and my sister, and I'm supposed to be her brother. I told her she's supposed to be my sister and my son's aunt, but she edges on bullying him over this, and it doesn't make her a suitable person for him to try helping out. She asked me for an apology and for me to make this right. She told me that I owe her that much at the very least. Am I the asshole? The only benefit of the doubt that I can give to your sister is that she is unaware of what the condition actually means and what it actually does. That is the only benefit of the doubt that I'm willing to give. Anything else, and she is just a monster. Because if she does have an understanding that your son has a neurological condition that makes it so he doesn't have proper motor function, and she's still like, oh well, why isn't he helping the family out? He's a bad son and you're coddling him too much. She can go fuck herself, honestly. Keep doing what's right by your son. You're doing a phenomenal job. Keep it up. Hefty quote, 8462. Am I the asshole for reporting a child licking the sauce dispensers at Costco? Ugh. I went to Costco and bought a hot dog for myself and my husband. After waiting in line, I went to the sauce dispensers to get some mustard. I saw a child licking her fingers, eating the sauce off them, and then proceeding to wipe them on the sauce dispensers where the sauce comes out, repeating the same thing several times with all 3 sauce dispensers. I decided not to confront the child or say anything to her family to avoid causing drama and embarrassing the child. Instead, I told the staff about the incident. A staff member came out and asked who did it, and I pointed at the child. Probably should have kept quiet, but oh well. The staff member confronted the family, which was a big group with 2 women and their children of various ages. The child who did this was about 6 or 7 years old. I saw her licking everything around her, and even her mother asked her to stop. The family then confronted me, asking why I didn't tell them directly and went straight to the staff. I politely explained that my concern was food safety and that's all, so I wasn't looking to confront anyone. They didn't believe me. Said I must hate children, and spent the next few minutes talking over me and not letting me put a word in. I reiterated that my concern was only food safety and that I didn't want other people's saliva in my sauces. The staff member then told them they could easily check the CCTV, which seemed to calm the family down. I'm still frustrated due to the whole incident. I hate arguing with people in public and wonder if I'm in the wrong here. Am I the asshole? Edit 1, just wanted to highlight that I told staff to get them to clean the dispensers. That was the reason. Personally, when I read the title, I thought the kid was doing mouth to sauce dispenser and just getting a full mouth of mustard and swallowing it. Both options are pretty revolting. Thankfully, it is something other than what I imagined, but oh boy. Yeah, that is insanely unsanitary, and you don't know where that kid's mouth has been. They could have been eating peanut butter crackers while their parents were shopping at Costco. Now they're licking their fingers and rubbing on sauce dispensers. Someone with a peanut allergy goes to put ketchup on their hot dog and boom. Anaphylactic shock. They're gonna need their EpiPen because that kid was licking their fingers and smearing it on things. And, that's a hypothetical. We don't know what this kid was doing, but that's kind of the point. Food contamination and food safety. This person did the right thing, and the Costco worker probably has training and protocol in place to remove problem visitors from the food court that are causing food safety concerns. I don't think anyone was in the wrong here besides the family of the licking child. And the thing is, kids are gonna be kids. They're gonna be goobers. They're gonna be snot goblins. It's what they do. It's your responsibility as a parent where if your child is misbehaving and not listening to you, you have to get your child out of that environment so they don't cause problems for other people. That's just what you gotta do. You can't just keep saying, no, don't do that, as they continue to do it. If your child is misbehaving in an environment, take them out of that environment. Granted, I am not a parent, I am only a former child. Classic Bandicoot 672. Am I the asshole for telling my daughter that life isn't high school, and if it was, she would be the loser now? My daughter is 24, Kelly, and my younger daughter is 23, Sarah. They both had very different high school experiences. Kelly was very social and in different sports. Sarah was very academic and had a small group of friends. Kelly got a sports scholarship for college but soon dropped out of college after she failed multiple classes. She basically partied and did her sport and nothing else. Sarah went on to finish her degree and is doing well in life. Kelly has a jealousy issue, and I have talked with her before about it. She is never happy when Sarah has an accomplishment. Today, Sarah told us that she's going on a cruise for her vacation this year. Kelly always wanted to go on a cruise and couldn't afford it with her waiter job. In the car, she blew up, saying Sarah was a loser in high school, so it isn't fair that she has all of this now. She went on for a bit when I had enough. I told her that life isn't like high school, and if it was, she was the loser now. This started an argument, and she called me a bitch. Reddit, as well as myself, deems this person not to be the asshole in this situation. It sounds like Kelly actually had a pretty good opportunity to be in line and on a similar level as Sarah, but she chose not to. That was her choice. And unfortunately, some people never do grow past the high school popularity scale phase and they bring that shit into adulthood. And oh my god, If you find someone who still treats life like high school when you're in your 20s, let alone when they're in their 30s, run. But seriously, it sounds like Sarah has been working her ass off, and yeah, she deserves to go on a cruise. If Kelly wanted to go on a cruise, she should have actually worked towards her degree and maybe utilize that sports scholarship and actually put things to work. Granted, I don't understand that sports scholarships are kind of a death sentence when it comes to the fact that student athletes aren't being paid properly. However, if she wanted to go on a cruise, she should have actually pursued her degree and not basically went out partying and doing nothing beyond, well, the party life in high school. Or, sorry, college. But yeah, not the asshole. Your daughter needed that reality check. High school was 6 years ago. She's been out of high school longer than she was ever in it. One page, 5216. Am I the asshole for asking our babysitter to set alarms when she sleeps? And Reddit's deemed this person the asshole. Let's find out why. My wife and I, 34, have 3 children, ages 7, 4, and a 9-month-old. I work a demanding job in the medical field and work many, many hours. My wife, not so much, but she does have night shifts often. We just got a new babysitter a few months ago after our one we had for 2 years moved for college. Our new babysitter is only 16, but she had been babysitting one of my coworkers' children for a while, and I trust him. I think they meant trust her. A few nights ago, my wife and I were both working nights, and I saw on the camera that our babysitter was asleep on the couch, and the baby had woken up and was crying for almost 30 minutes while she slept. That bothered me. So without talking to my wife, when I got home in the morning, I had told my babysitter maybe she should set alarms throughout the night to make sure she's awake since the baby monitor didn't wake her, and that it was not okay for her to leave the baby crying like that. I guess it hurt the kid's feelings because she mentioned it to my wife, and my wife is really upset with me because she's only 16, and what I was asking is unreasonable and this has never happened before, so again, I'm being unreasonable and that I should have talked to her first because this could have been a learning experience. She also said I was completely out of line as well. I'm really not worried about a learning experience, but I am worried about the fact that my children are cared for properly. Am I the asshole? I might be misunderstanding this, but it almost sounds like you hired a 16-year-old who is currently going through high school to work as a night shift babysitter, and you're upset with them for sleeping. Please keep in mind, the 16-year-old, by all measures, is also a child. They are still learning through a lot of stuff. They've got a lot of screws they've got to tighten up, and I don't know. If you need to have a proper night sitter, hire a proper night sitter. You can't put this kind of expectation on a 16-year-old and expect everything to be perfect because they're 16. The fact alone that they're taking this kind of time is actually pretty incredible. You better be paying them really well for this kind of stuff, man. If you have these kind of expectations for a 16-year-old, just hire someone who knows what they're doing. Because to me, it sounds like you're taking advantage of a 16-year-old who you know is going to be cheaper labor, but then also berating them and insulting them because they passed out during the night while watching 3 children. They're probably exhausted, man. I might be totally wrong in my assessment here, and I would really love to hear some secondary input on this one because in my opinion, I think the guy needs to hire a professional. He works in the medical field. He should have the money for it. And if he and his wife are going to have 3 kids while they're all working night shifts, they need to be able to put the resources forward to hire a night nanny and not just some teenager who's still in high school. You guys chose to have these children. Take care of them properly. Silly Emu 9279. Am I the asshole for saying just leave at my cookout? My sister Nicole, 34, brought her new boyfriend, Steven, to our family cookout yesterday. It's for about 30 people. For the sides, everyone brought in sides. My sister brought 1 bag of store-brand potato chips, and Steve helped himself to a beer right away before being introduced to everyone. We're having hamburgers and hot dogs and just hanging out with the family. It's nothing fancy. Steve asks, "Is this it?" when the first plate of hot dogs is done and waiting on the round of hamburgers. My wife says there will be hamburgers soon, and Steve tells my wife and sister about his family and how they have barbecue chicken, steak, shrimp, and many options. I picked up the plate of hot dogs and told Steve he could leave and go to his family barbecue instead. He just looked at me and drank his beer, and I told him and my sister to go, since this wasn't good enough for Steve. I gave my sister the store-brand potato chips back and told her to get out. My sister and Steve left, and the cookout was fine after that. My mom heard about me kicking them out and was mad at me, and told me to apologize to my sister. Maybe there was a misunderstanding, but Steve was just an asshole commenting like that at someone's house, and the first time you meet their family. My wife thinks I was in the right because Steve acted like that in her home, and insulting the host is a good reason to be kicked out. Others are split about 50-50 when they heard about what happened. I do think that it may have been a bit brash to just immediately jump to kicking him out, but what he did was most certainly an asshole move, just to show up and pretty much just insult you right out the bat with, "Is that it?" Followed by listing how much better he and his family do it in comparison to you. That's just shitty behavior. That's just gross one-upsmanship. If that's what he wants, he can go make it at home. He was invited to a cookout, and he should just enjoy what's put in front of him, because it's a cookout. He doesn't have to do shit. You're the one grilling. He just gets to scoop his plate up, drink beer, and talk with people. Instead, he decided to pretty much play one-upsmanship for some reason. I do think, however, you were in the right to kick him out, because he was being an asshole about things, and you do have a right to pretty much be like, "Nah, I don't want to serve you. Get the hell out." But because it was a family event, there's a couple of different norms in place, and I can kind of understand that. But personally, I probably would have just kept him at an arm's length for the entire night and just tolerated him. And, he's gonna act like that. He's dating a member of the family. Gotta respect him, but at the same time, he's not respecting me, so he just gets the "I'm gonna tolerate you" treatment. And if anyone asks, I'll tell them what happened. And if he wants to apologize, maybe we can get off on a better foot. But until then, I don't know. Arm's length. How are y'all feeling about this one? Glad Wedding 4431. Am I the asshole for not offering an open bar at my wedding? My fiance and I's wedding invitations have started arriving. Along with the invites is a few things we felt we should outline before the guests arrive to the reception. We have decided to not include an open bar. I come from an alcoholic-heavy family and simply don't feel comfortable being around people who are drinking heavily. Instead, my fiance and I have decided to have a drink ticket-like service instead. With that service, we've been able to customize how we want alcoholic beverages being handled at our reception, and the venue says this kind of service happens all the time there. It was their suggestion, in fact, so I didn't think it would be this big of a deal. With the invitations was a card, with the expectations one is to expect from the ceremony and the receptions. I didn't want to shock people when they arrived, so I figured the cards would be a nice, classy heads up for our guests. The drink service bit of the card said, essentially, that alcoholic drinks were limited to 2 per of-age guest. The tickets are non-transferable, and like the other beverages offered, would need to be ordered from your seat at your assigned table. Drinks were also to be enjoyed at your assigned table. I've been called a lot of rude things after family, both sides, and friends are receiving their cards. My fiance has as well, but a little less so. The most common being bridezilla, but I did have an uncle reach out to me and say I'm a asshole for trying to spoil the fun of a wedding reception. The response has been mostly negative and has been from all sides of the family and friends, and now my head is swirling as I try to figure out what to do. So, am I the asshole because I've set my reception up like this and am not offering an open bar instead? I think your title's misleading if I'm gonna be honest with you. The problem, in my opinion, isn't the fact that you don't have an open bar like you suggest, it's the fact that you have some pretty controlling stipulations attached to the consumption of alcohol at your wedding. It's a non-transferable process that limits people to 2 drinks, which is a pretty limiting amount, and not everyone's gonna want 1 drink, not everyone's gonna want 2 drinks. You're gonna have a mix of people who are probably gonna want 3 or 4 and some who don't want any at all. In my opinion, it feels like you're being controlling for the sake of control. And I don't even think the entirety of it is the fact there's a limit on drinks. It's also the fact that they have to order it from their table and they have to drink it at their table. There's no socializing with other guests while drinking. There's no mingling, no dancing, no enjoyment of just simply spending time with other people and relatives while being there with a nice drink in your hand. That's how some people just enjoy mingling with others. Not my personal cup of tea, but it's what people enjoy, and you're kind of just stripping that for no apparent reason. If you don't want your guests to drink, just have a dry wedding. You're kind of just teasing and edging them on at this point and being just, nah, you can't have that. Of course it's pissing people off. I really think that in a circumstance like this, either remove the limit on drinks when it comes to where they can consume it, or have a dry wedding. This is not about an open bar like you're suggesting. This is about the controlling aspect that you're putting down on your guests during your wedding. That's why you're being called a bridezilla. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong on this. Let me know in the comments, because I read all of them, or at least most of them. Hey, welcome to the outro. Don't forget this whole thing is basically brought to you by gamersupps. If you like caffeine, then I can't recommend gamersupps enough. Use code OZ at checkout to support the channel. And I do actually use this product. It's replaced all other sources of caffeine for me because I feel good. It doesn't have any of that extra stuff that a pre-workout blend might have. It's with a couple of the extra things to make it so you don't crash as hard. It's good. I like it. Personally, if you really want a good flavor, try the Soda Pressing Pear or even the Dragon Fruit Punch. Those two are my personal favorites right now.